My name is Jonathan Fusaro. I am the Eastern Sierra Regional Director for Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. I am also a wildlife biologist. I actually worked for the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for about 11 years. And in the last part of my time there, for about 4 years, I was researching black bears and mid-sized carnivores like bobcats and coyote. In light of the recent petition that was submitted to the commission to ban black bear hunting in the state of California, I decided to expedite a project I've been working on. And this project that I've been working on is to teach folks in backcountry hunters and anglers how to do scientific research and find scientific research papers to do two things. One, help them become better hunters or fishermen. And two, and more importantly for this topic, specifically with the black bear ban, how to use scientific research or find scientific research to improve their policy statements and improve their presentations to the commission during commission meetings. I want to give you a little bit of background on scientific research papers. So scientific research papers are used by scientists for a lot of reasons. And when a scientist produces a research project, they will write up that into a manuscript, and that manuscript will be submitted to a journal. And that journal will put it through the peer review process. And the peer review process means that other scientists with experience in that type of research will critically evaluate that study. And it's difficult to get into a peer-reviewed journal. And certain journals are more difficult to get into than others. And certain journals are more prestigious than others, meaning the science is a lot better and stronger potentially. And the most prestigious journals that are out there are the journals of science and nature. I use quite often, a lot of wildlife biologists use journals like the Journal of Mammalogy, Journal of Wildlife Management, and an organization called the Wildlife Society hosts or manages the Journal of Wildlife Management. And if you're a member of that organization, which you can be, even if you're not a biologist or a scientist, you can gain access to those journals. But I'm going to teach you a free way to access those journals. It's really simple, and you will probably laugh when I show you this. So I am going to share my screen right now. So here we are in a Google search, okay? And if you type into your Google search black bear and California, here's what you get. You get straight to the Department of Fish and Wildlife's website, as you would expect, and links to different newspaper articles and a large amount of information. Of course, Wikipedia pops up, right? So Google has this software called Google Scholar. And some of you may have learned about this. Google Scholar can be used for a lot of reasons. You can look up lawsuits or court cases. You can look up information about medical things you're concerned about, because medical journals have a lot of information. So if you're looking up something about COVID and want to know the scientific literature about COVID, you can put it into Google Scholar and learn where there is some data or information on Google Scholar. But back to topic here. So Google Scholar is its own type of search engine. It's different than regular Google search. So let's type in black bear into this search and California. So you'll notice that I put and in capitals. When you're doing these searches, you can use and to combine words into your search. So we could add in there as well. We could add and, let's see, genetics. It will combine all of these words into that search and do a pretty good job of pulling up scientific literature that includes black bear, California, and genetics. So let's just go with that search. And you'll see the very top one here is a black bear population genetic study in California. And you can see that this search is set up differently than a regular Google search. There are journal articles here listed. As you scroll down, all of these would be journal articles from a variety of types of journals. And when you click on the actual search, if that interests you, it brings you to the Journal of Mammalogy's page. Some journals allow publications to be free to download. So in this case, if we click the PDF, it downloads it for us. So here is the entire journal from start to finish, journal article from start to finish. So when you look at these journal articles, of course, you have your title, then you have the authors here. You have the authors' addresses, which helps you with contact information and kind of figuring out if these authors are worthy and prestigious or not. This journal was primarily written by folks from the University of California, Davis. And then the next thing you'll see down here in most journal articles, because all of them are, some of them are a little bit different, is you'll see a summary or an abstract. If all you read of a journal article is the abstract, you can still gain a lot of information. They're usually more digestible to the public with less jargon. They'll explain a little bit of the history of the study, the methods that they used, and some of the basic, most important results in that journal article. Next thing you'll see here is keywords. Most journals do this. You'll see black bear, colonization, gene flow. These are things that when put into a search will trigger that search to bring up this specific article. Then to break down how these journals are set up, you'll have an introduction that provides background information on the topic. And there can be a wide variety of amount of information in there, for a pretty large introduction to smaller introduction, just depending on how much is needed. Then it'll go into the material and methods section. So explaining how they did their study and the techniques that they use to do their study. Then it'll get into the results section. The results section gives you the bare, I don't want to say bare bones, but the plainest answers and results that they got. It's often difficult to interpret, especially if you're not a scientist, but it's worth skimming through the results section, looking at the tables and trying to decipher the information in there. And then your next section, after you get through the results, is the discussion. And I recommend you read the abstract, the introduction, skim through the results, and read in detail the discussion. The discussion will more often be in plain English and explain to you what their general thoughts are on the study and talk about flaws in the study. Potentially, they'll talk about other projects and their flaws in their research. And so it's a great place to learn the most important stuff from that study. I want to point something out within these journals articles. You'll notice throughout them that there are parentheses with last names and dates. This is a citation that they use in supporting the statements that they make. Journal articles are always including a large number of citations to support their thoughts, okay? And why I point that out is you can look at this. So right here, for instance, you can look at this. Ernest et al., meaning there are numerous, more than 3 authors, and it was written in 2003. Go down to the bottom of the article, and you will see the literature cited, or a bibliography. And the bibliography or literature cited will contain all of the information for the papers that they cited in their journal. So if we go down, and it's sorted in alphabetical order, if we go down to where I had saw that one Ernest, here's Ernest, and you scroll through, it shows all the other authors and the 2003, and then there it is, the genetic structure of mountain lion populations in California. That article If you did a search on mountain lions and genetics in California, it might not pop up. However, if we go back to Google Scholar here, one of the techniques I use and a lot of scientists use to find certain papers once they've found them in the literature is to go into Google Scholar and type that in. So let's type in genetics and mountain lion and Ernest. There it is. There's that paper right here. Brings you to this, accept them cookies, brings you to this journal publication, and you can read the abstract right here. Most often when you look at these, they'll allow you to read the abstract, and sometimes they'll allow you to read some more information in there as well. You can scroll through. Let's see if we can download and read the full article or text. And in this case, it does let you. It doesn't always let you. Sometimes when you click on that, it tells you need to pay. It brings you to a place to pay for it. And if we go back here, you'll notice in the right-hand column of these searches, it will show you if there is a PDF available often. And as you scroll down and look, not all of them have a PDF directly linked to this search. So here's another study on fecal DNA analysis and risk of mountain lion predation of bighorn sheep, another Ernest paper. So this is just a quick introduction on finding journal articles. There are databases that you can pay for membership to get journal articles. And if you can't find certain ones that you found in your search that don't have PDFs, I've often emailed those authors and they will send them to you directly if you're lucky. Sometimes the Department of Fish and Wildlife will have journal articles that they've been a part of on their state website, or the university, you can go on their website and find certain articles if you're really interested in them. So like I said, you can use this information to help guide you when you write your policy statements to have good, sound science in there. You want to make sure and cite that within your policy statements so they know you got it from a specific journal article, and cite the author and the year that you had that in there, that you got that information from. And then back to kind of the other part that's fun as well is, let's use an example of, say I don't know much about California quail and I want to know more about the habitat they use. So habitat and California quail. Habitat use of irrigated lands by California quail in Nevada. This paper's from 1986. Information in older papers can be just as valid as papers in more recent years. Some of this information is not redone, or some of these studies aren't redone because that information holds true. So don't discount a paper just because it's old. But you could open up this paper here and it doesn't look like it has the PDF available, and a lot of the older ones don't necessarily have the PDF available directly, but it's got the abstract and it's got a good chunk of the introduction here. And as you scroll down, looks like you can get some more information from that as well. So you might be a new hunter and gain a ton of information on this, or you're looking for specific information on a specific area and you can get a lot of information. So that's my quick and dirty presentation on how to find scientific research. If there are people out there that have great tips and ideas that they should share with hunters on how to find scientific research papers that I did not present, please put that in any sort of comments where BHA or myself post this. You can reach out to me on my Instagram page at _hunter_biologist to ask me any questions you want about scientific papers. And if you need more guidance on how to find scientific papers, please reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you. Yeah, please, when you start writing your letters and addressing the commission, just keep in mind to be respectful and try your best to use science-based information when developing your your policy statement. So thank you very much. And let's keep up the fight to stop this bear hunting ban.